Robin is definitely not having a good night in Gotham. Let's talk about it in this video. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Batman #2. This is a new book from DC Comics. This is the continuation of the fantastic debut run from Matt Fraction with art by Jorge Jimenez, Tommy Murray on colors, letters by Clayton Cowell. Um, I I'm enjoying this. Now, I had a chance to read this. I have a video where I promoted both issues 1 and 2. DC was very kind and sent us some advanced copies just to remind people that this book was coming out. In this issue, though, injured, cuff, and tussed in the back of a GCPD paddy wagon with a dozen uncuffed violent criminals, Robin Tim Drake will now have to use everything he's learned from the Dark Knight if he hopes to survive his own Dark Knight. Will Batman arrive in time to help him, or will this mission change the way the city and the GCPD view the dynamic duo forever? This is a 40-page issue. Uh, there's a lot in here. There's a lot going on. I think Matt Fraction has a very clear plan laid out as to how Batman will be approached, and he's definitely not afraid to push some boundaries. Uh, there. If you remember from the end of the last issue, Tim was already like kind of in the thick of it with the cops and seeing some of these criminals that he had been putting away. Now, the thing that I think is making this run a little bit special is that Matt Fraction is also expanding on the relationships between Tim and Bruce and Damien. We get to see some flashbacks in this episode, and I feel like Tim is being pushed to the edge. Now, this is all brought to life very, very well by Jorge Jimenez, who is just doing some bang up job. He's been working on Batman for a long time, and I think he's one of those artists that is just a consistently doing great work. We have some really cool action scenes. There's a lot of very expressive faces in these panels as well. And then, of course, a lot of really cool shenanigans. He's really taken care to make all the Batman gadgets and accessories feel very much like a bat, whatever it needs to be. We get to see some bat strip spikes, I guess, if you want to call them that. The spikes they throw on the ground to stop a car. And then we also learned that Tim Drake apparently maybe not, doesn't know how to drive a stick shift. So that's very interesting. Um, it's a very fun issue, full of action, full of a lot of twists and turns. But then, like I mentioned, the big thing is going to be at the end of this issue, what is Gotham's relationship with the dynamic duo? Will they be able to get along? We still have Vandal Savage as the commissioner. You already know he does not have any good intentions, and now he's going to use all of this to uh, sway things in his favor against Batman and Robin, and probably a lot of the vigilantes. He just doesn't really want vigilantes running around in his city. Interesting stuff. How will Gordon play into this? We know that he's back in the uniform. And then, of course, all the other characters that we know about. Like I mentioned, we see Damien in some of the flashbacks, but we haven't seen him in the main story. Also, this new Batmobile looks so freaking cool. So yeah, very excited to pick this up. You know, pages for the first issue went on sale a couple weeks ago, and I was just looking at the prices like holy moly. I don't think I'll ever own one of these pages. But I do have a Batman page from Belen Ortega, which is really nice. So I do own some original art from the run. So hopefully I'll eventually be able to get something from Jorge Jimenez's run because we're doing some really extraordinary stuff here. So, all right, before we close out of the video, let's take a look at some of the covers. I think that's something that people have really been enjoying. So we have here the main cover, of course, by Jorge Jimenez. We have a Jim Lee cover. Really, his Tim Drake does not look like Tim Drake. I will say that for Jim Lee, it looks very cool, but it definitely looks a lot more like Dick Grayson, like an older version of Dick. Then here we have this by Julian Tutino Tedesco. This is a really cool cover, just a regular cover, no ratio or anything like that. We have cover D, which is not an homage, but just in the style of the same cover for the first issue. Then we have this cover by Michael Allred, very cool, hanging upside down with the old school classic Batman. But if you notice, the cape does mimic what the cape looks like now. We have the Jorge Jimenez Bat Gadget variant. So, like I mentioned, I think Jimenez has been really working on these gadgets and making them look like they're part of Batman's arsenal. And then, of course, we have the foil variant without the trade risk. So that'd be really neat. I might be picking that one up. And last but not least, a 1 in 25 David Aja cover. Yeah, it looks like we might get some covers by David Aja all throughout this run, and that's something that I'll definitely be looking forward to. So great stuff. Really enjoyed this, and I'm gonna stay. I'm not reviewing a lot of ongoings, but Batman is definitely one that will always be at the top of my list. So let me know what you think of this run so far. If you have read these first two issues, as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have a lot of stuff on the channel. We have some stuff about Marvel Zombies where I put together my own crew, and also another video where I talk about did Marvel mess up with Marvel Zombies? Go find out why. Go check out our new weekly series, What I Should Be Watching This Weekend. And then, of course, we have tons of comic book coverage, new stuff, old stuff. And then we'll be talking about New York Comic Con and any announcements and all that stuff coming up. So thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. It is the 1 year anniversary of the Absolute Universe, and its villains stand united. So let's talk about that in this video. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Absolute Evil #1. This is a new book from the Absolute Universe over at DC Comics. In this issue, we have writer Al Ewing with art by Giuseppe Camuncoli and Stefano Nessi, colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr., letters by Tom Napolitano. And without heroes, without protection, without restraint, there is only absolute evil. This is a one-shot comic book. The emergence of superheroes has caught the attention of the world, and it certainly caught the attention of the people who run it. Ra's al Ghul, Veronica Cale, Eleanor Thawne, Hector Hammond, and the mysterious Joker have worked at cross purposes until now, but this growing threat requires new ways of thinking and new partnerships. An insidious betrayal from within their ranks is imminent, and if they don't take action, they'll lose control of the planet that was built to be their playground. Uh, I was not, I didn't, so going into this book, I didn't even realize that this was an absolute uh, universe story. I thought this was kind of maybe like a little follow up for the Absolute Power, which is kind of what spun out everything that's going on. But I should have known. I also can't believe that we are already 1 year removed from the beginning of this Absolute Universe. It's been such a blast. It's a lot of fun stuff. So this was great. This is just this issue, and Al Ewing is really good at doing this kind of stuff where things just kind of build. It's really fun to see all the characters kind of interact for the first time, and I kind of love that in a world in this absolute universe where it's a little bit of the opposite or the worst case scenario from the normal universe because it is molded by dark side. That instead of a Justice League coming together to fight some great evil, it is really these evil people from all the books that you've been reading that are coming together to make sure that they can hold and retain power. It's a really fun exploration, and of course, a really interesting twist in the dynamic from normal superhero comics. So I think that's really fun to explore. If you're not reading all the absolute books, don't worry about that. You can get in on this, and you'll still really know. I mean, as long as you're reading one or two of them, you'll be able to catch up because all the characters really kind of. I mean, they're having a meeting, and because they haven't met each other, it is very organic for Al Ewing to have them kind of introduce themselves as well. Giuseppe Camunconi and Stefano Nessi do such great work. Their styles are very similar when it comes to the tone that they're bringing to the book and the way that they approach these characters. There is there is a way that they are picking out which characters to um, to bring into the absolute universe and which characters they may never go forward, because there are you're going to be surprised with which one of these mainstay characters is completely taken off the board in this issue. And then of course, as everything builds towards that last page that has the best surprise, and you also get to see a little bit of the universe and why doesn't it have heroes like our normal universe, right? You get a little bit of the backstory. It's really cool. They do some really deep callbacks. It's just a lot of fun. This is one of those books that I was expecting to enjoy, but I was not expecting it to enjoy at this level. There's a lot of little Easter eggs, and of course, if you've been reading all the books, you're getting a lot of payoff for everything. Like it's all kind of being connected. But if you're not, you at least get a little glimpse at what the other books are about, and maybe how you would want to really start reading some of that stuff. So it's great. I can't wait to see what happens after this. We finally are going to have some crossover between our heroes as well, with Wonder Woman teaming up with Batman pretty soon. So this is going to be a lot of fun to explore. So yeah, very excited to see what happens in the absolute universe. The DCKO event is also about to kick off, so that's going to have some heavy implications soon for this. But at this moment in time, DC Comics to me, they're just in such good track. Like all their stuff has been really good. Like all the things that I'm kind of following along, and the Absolute Universe is definitely one of the big things. So uh, let's go take a look at some of the covers, and then we'll wrap up this video. So here we have, of course, our main cover. Um, then we have a cover B by Fabrizio De Tomaso. This is just a regular cover, no ratio, so you should be able to just pick it up for. I think normal covers are usually an extra dollar because they do have the card stock. This other cover is by Gerald Perel. I'm not familiar with the artist, but you can see here Kale and Wonder Woman slugging it out. Then we have a Dustin Win cover for The Flash, which is really cool, where we get to see Eleanor Thawne. Um, Next, we have a Riley Rossmo cover, really just kind of bringing in a lot of the villains that we've met, right? We have Brainiac, we have Vandal Savage, we have Bane, we have the Rogues. So it's very cool. And then we also have here a foil variant for that. So that one's going to come in two different we have a blank cover, which I'll be picking up because I think going into a convention this weekend, I'll definitely be getting a sketch for maybe somebody pretty evil. So let me know, who would you like me to get a sketch of in a cover like this weekend. Sound off in the comments, and then we'll see if I can make it happen. And then we have the New York Comic Con exclusive David Nakayama cover. That's going to be interesting to see how that goes on the secondary market. And then we're back to our main cover. So yeah, there you have it. This book is outstanding, fantastic, and just a great one shot to really bring everything in, right? It features a first appearance from a hero that we really hadn't seen. Actually multiple heroes, but one big hero that is usually a mainstay in the Justice League, that you may be upset if you're a fan of this Emerald. Uh, we'll call him this Emerald Hero, at least for now. So if you have picked this up, let me know, what did you think of Absolute Evil #1. This is going to be a really fun just stopping point to celebrate the Absolute Universe. And of course, if you haven't yet, make sure to share, like, subscribe, leave a comment in the video. Let me know which cover, let me know what I should get in my blank cover. And stay tuned because we have a lot more stuff in the channel. We have some reviews. We have our new series, what I should be watching this weekend. We have reviews of Peacemaker, trailer reactions, TV recaps, movie reviews, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. All roads lead to DCKO, but first we have one last special to get through, and we're going to talk about it in this video. Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Justice League, the Omega Act Special Number One. This is a new book from DC Comics, a prelude to DCKO. I am very, very excited to get into this. This is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Cian Tormey, and also with art by Jasmine Putri, letters by Dave Sharp, and a really cool main cover that you can see here by Jorge Fornes. In this book, a special oversized 48 pages is pretty good, oversized prologue to DC's biggest event of the year. Everything since the DC All In special has been building to this moment. Time Trapper is on the run from Darkseid's Legion, racing through time to learn how to stop Darkseid's conquest. He witnesses how the future is already lost, and the only hope of survival lies with the Justice League. The Time Trapper has a plan to save the DCU, but it means making the impossible offer to the Justice League. Will they accept? Let's get into it. Man, oh man. This one, I will say, if you haven't been keeping up with all the stuff that's been going on in Justice League and Superman, you're going to be very, very confused. But I'll do my best to kind of bring you into this, which this issue also does a lot of heavy lifting. I think Joshua Williamson is able to kind of try to distill the idea of what is happening into really one oversized issue to get people excited about what's going on in the upcoming event. But Darkseid died. He created the absolute universe, and in his absence, he has now gone into the future, coming back to the past to try to destroy everything. And the only way that the Justice League can stop him is by gaining this power from the DCKO event. But they're gonna have to at least start to work together. Now, Time Trapper is a version of Doomsday from the future that has evolved so much. He has also now become kind of like this avatar of time, a time traveler. And he has come back into the present to try to help the Justice League. But of course, he is Doomsday. Nobody trusts him. I wouldn't trust him. But the book also, it explores what the how old the lore and the age of Darkseid is, even going back to the Kryptonian culture. So that's a really fun new idea that hasn't really been explored much. The book toys with this really interesting concept of, was Doomsday made from the beginning not to kill Superman, not to kill everything, but to eventually stop Darkseid. Yeah, and then of course we have great artists. I mean, Cian Tormey and Jasmine Putri are just two of the best. We get some pages in the future, we get some pages in the past, and I think they kind of split up their duties that way. But stuff really works. We get to go in this like uh you know, this time journey with the time trapper, Booster Gold, and then of course the Flash tags along because he's another person that can travel through time. And through this journey, Time Trapper has to convince the Flash and Booster Gold that his idea, his approach to this is the best way to do things. I don't know if he'll succeed, but I think at least they are now paying attention. So yeah, this was a great one. Really enjoying this. Really looking forward to DCKO. I mean, a few weeks ago we had our big bracket where we finally ended up deciding who do we think is going to be the winner of the DCKO tournament. I'll put a link in the description if you want to go check that out. It's our live show, and we really went through the full bracket, and it's a lot of fun. Let's take a look at some of the covers for this comic book, and then we'll wrap up the video. So, of course, we have our main cover here, as I mentioned, by Jorge Fornes. We also have this. This is our other cover by Q Young Om. I'm not familiar with this artist. I'm not even sure how to say their name properly. But yeah, this is a very cool. You know, this Dark Side Legion has been a really fun concept to play around with. We also have this cover by Fernando Blanco. You may know him. I mean, he's a longtime collaborator, but done a lot of stuff for Image Comics, and then of course some stuff on Captain America. As a matter of fact, I have a Captain America page from him, some original art. We also have this cover by Salvador La Roca, a name I had not heard in a long time. This gigantic doomsday here. We also have this 1 in 25 cover by Don and Guilo. This is a very, very cool booster gold with skeets. So that's really fun. This one's probably going to be, I mean, I would say maybe around $10 to $15 just based on the ratio. And then, of course, we're back to the original main cover. So, yeah, I'm very excited for this upcoming event. Very excited for everything that DC's been doing. They really just knocked it out of the park in such a way that it's a lot of fun to read and explore and to live in that world of their comics. So, if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Also, make sure to check out our other comic reviews. We have a lot of really cool stuff. We've been talking about Godzilla. We've been talking about all this stuff from DC Comics, and later on in the week, we'll get into some of the Marvel stuff as well. So yeah, let me know, what are you reading this week. Let me know if you're going to New York Comic Con, because we'll be talking about New York Comic Con this upcoming weekend on our weekend show. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hoping for a lot of really cool announcements and a lot more stuff to get us pumped up. But if you went to New York Comic Con and you picked up something really cool, let us know down in the comments so we can feel the FOMO. Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then, of course, stay tuned. We have a lot more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Godzilla in space. That's right. We have a new comic book, Godzilla Starship, and we're going to talk about it in this video. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be doing a review for Godzilla Starship #1, the latest book in the Godzilla Kaisei era from IDW. Godzilla is in space. That's not a fever dream. That's the bold pitch behind Starship Godzilla #1. It's a new chapter in IDW's Kaisei era, and it pushes the kaiju mythology to the cosmic frontier. Today, I'll be reviewing the book, breaking down some of the creative team, the synopsis, and giving you a full summary of everything that's going on and how this fits into the larger Godzilla Kaisei universe, and a few fun facts that you don't want to miss, as well as a look at the variant covers. So let's get into it. The series is published by IDW, written by Chris Gooch with art by Oliver Ono, letters by Hassan Otsmane Elhau. Uh, I am very excited about this book. Big 32-page debut. You really can't go wrong with a book like this. The story follows a ragtag crew of spacefarers navigating across the galaxy, a mecha Godzilla-like starship, and their mission is going to be transporting and trading kaiju across interstellar borders. But when their cargo, a collection of mysterious kaiju eggs, begins to hatch, chaos erupts, pulling them into a much larger galactic conspiracy. I really like this. This might be a little bit, spoiler light. We open with the crew at this intergalactic auction where the eggs are sold like commodities. We meet Captain Rowan and Ian and Liv, uh, and their operator Ilsa to secure their latest hauls. But things go wrong very quickly. One of the eggs hatches mid-transport and it unleashes havoc all across the ship. We get a glimpse at the crew's dynamic, which is really fun. We have the pragmatic leader. We have the empathy for the creatures. We have a brute force dude. And of course, everything, from mission control, trying to guide everything and take care of business. They're also joined by a cute but dangerous critter who adds a lot of charm and unpredictability to everything that's going on. So by the end of this, we're left with a lot of questions, including like, who is trading kaiju? What is this larger conflict behind everything? And how will the crew get along with all that's going on? And of course, we want to know more about the crew and our protagonist. So here's what really worked out for me. First of all, it's a very far out concept, very different to everything that's going on Earth in the Kaisei Godzilla era. I know it sounds a little bit absurd, but it really works. I mean, we know that some kaiju come from space, just from Godzilla mythology. So it's bold and it really expands on that mythology. The art is fantastic. Oliver Ono's stylized kinetic line work gives the book so much energy. It is so cool. I love seeing Ono's post on social media of all the designs and everything that goes behind putting a book like this. So if you're not following all the creators on social media, go check it out. It really honestly feels like discovering like this lost 80s anime, and it's so cool. I love the character designs, and even the personalities. Like, even though you only get glimpses at these little, these characters, I already know that I'm gonna enjoy following this group of ragtag, uh, you know, spacefarers. So the narrative definitely keeps you hooked, and there's a little bit of a mystery to just kind of make you want to read the next issue immediately. Now, I will say I have been able to read issue two, so I that's why I'm trying to be careful to just really give you everything only for the first issue. Now, a couple of caveats. Like I said, this is just the beginning. There's a lot that you have to learn in here, but it just gives you enough to really dive into this. So this is the third title from IDW's Kaisei line, following Godzilla number one, and of course, Escape the Dead Zone, which I've talked about on the channel as well. Those book really reset everything, and it's a really fun title. In the meanwhile, this book itself kind of blasts the doors open to a larger universe. So literally, it's the first time kaiju are framed as these intergalactic commodities that are tying alien races into the whole thing in galactic politics. So it really broadens everything just beyond the conflict on Earth. So you can have a micro universe of the Kaisei Godzilla era, and then you can have like this macro universe where you kind of go deep onto a lot of that other stuff. So uh, the series does give a lot of like maybe inspiration from things like Cowboy Bebop or Space Dandy, which really follows same kind of crew dynamics, and it's also one of the first comics that I've seen to really depict kaiju eggs as something that is kind of a commodity. Like, that's really really fun. So of course, this is already going to be a collector's item just because of all the new stuff that it's introducing. So before we close out this video, let's go check out some of the variants that you can pick up for Godzilla, Starship Godzilla number one. So of course, we have the main cover by Oliver Ono. We have this variant cover. This is the 1 in 25 Bob Eggleton variant cover. This is very very cool. I even love seeing the new Godzilla corner box. That's a lot of fun. We have this really cool Chris Gooch cover. I didn't realize that the writer of this is also an artist, because I'm not very familiar with their work. So that's really cool. I love seeing these weird creatures flying all around the ship that we've been following. We have this really cool Victor Kafagi variant. This is an homage to Star Wars, obviously, but it's so cool. I really really love how everything, those Star Wars posters were very special for a reason, and this cover really recaptures a lot of that within the context of Starship Godzilla. And then, of course, we have a blank cover variant, so you can get your own commission at a convention or from your favorite artist. And then we're back to our main cover. So you should check out Starship Godzilla. Absolutely. And here's why. If you're a fan of Godzilla, a sci fi reader, or just someone who likes these wild concepts, this book delivers. It's ambitious, is beautifully drawn, and genuinely a fun way to expand the Godzilla mythos. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Even after issue two, I'm still just really following along. So if you want to know more about this, I'm wondering, is this ever going to connect to the stuff that's happening on Earth? I think it will, just probably a little bit further in the future. I kind of like that they are more disconnected at the time. All three series themselves are very disconnected, like, even though it's all happening in the same place. But I'm sure there'll be some kind of big crossover in the future. So what did you think of Starship Godzilla number one? Did it work for you? Did the concept work? Is it too far out there for you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you're enjoying this Kaisei era of Godzilla. And if you enjoyed this review, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and make sure to ring the bell so you know when we go live. Most weekends, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And of course, for more Godzilla comic book coverage. And thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. The heroes in the half shelf meet the king of the monsters, and I got an advanced preview. So let's talk about TMNT Godzilla number one. Hello, everyone. That's right. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Godzilla number one is here to mash up two of pop culture's most enduring icons into one delightfully bonkers adventure. Today, I'm sharing my first impressions, spoiler free, from my advanced reader edition. And yes, this crossover absolutely lives up to the wild promise. Now, this is going to be spoiler free. All the information that I'm giving you here, outside of my own opinions, is from stuff that you can publicly find right now on the internet. This is written by Tim Seeley, who you may already know from his Godzilla work in the Kaisei era. Also, a longtime writer at DC, Revival, which is now a sci fi TV show. We also have Pharaoh Pe, who has been working on TMNT as well. For a while now, kind of tackling this really cool mashup with colors by Luis Antonio Delgado and letters by Brian Kolek. Now, the basic hook of this is, what if the Foot Clan, long before the Shredder's corruption, was originally founded to protect Japan from kaiju threats? And what if in modern day those same monsters return? Shredder himself behind the resurgence, trying to weaponize all this. What will the turtles do? Will they make it in time to Japan to stop calamity, or will they have to take care of their own business? That sets up Tim Seeley to lean both into the TMNT lore and the classic Godzilla kaiju tropes, which is exactly what this mashup requires. Now, what I really like, first of all, is this is a very far out concept. Two properties that I've always wanted to see. And matter of fact, there might be a clip of me somewhere on the channel saying that this is a crossover that I wanted to see before it was even announced. And it makes a lot of sense because IDW handling both properties, it's great. It's respectful and enthusiastic for both properties. It doesn't feel silly. It really makes it feel like this is something that you would want to see. The idea of the Foot Clan as this ancient monster defenders, like, it's cool, it's fresh, it's something that I never would have even thought about, but it just kind of feels like inevitable, and it makes sense in hindsight, right? Once you kind of dig into it. Pharaoh Pez art gives the comic vibe, like, just very evocative of the original animated series. The Godzilla design is also very clean, and it's nice, and it's very expressive. There's a lot of really cool, great scale for the monsters. Now, when the kaiju show up, the artwork really leans into these like big imposing, like, but still very very much legible, making sure that you can see everything that's going on. uh it does demand a few double spread pages, which is really cool. The colors do a lot of the heavy lifting as well, because they have to set that mood, but also kind of balance out the feel of the turtles world with the Godzilla and the kaiju, right? Both things kind of have to coincide. So yeah, it's great stuff. The story remains very energetic, a little self-aware as well. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It just kind of brings in a lot of this really cool stuff, and then it weaves this whole monster versus the ninja spectacle into the TMNT mythos, right? It brings in a lot of really cool callbacks from the series, from the cartoons, from both properties. Um, I think one of the biggest thing that this book accomplishes is that it doesn't treat either the turtles or Godzilla as a gimmick. The lore of the kaiju is very much woven incredibly into Shredder's backstory, and into the TMNT world at large. But it's just this really cool monstrous upgrade, right? Yeah. So issue one really builds a spectacle, and I really really enjoyed every panel of this advanced look. So if this upcoming look is anything to go by, TMNT and Godzilla is off to a thrilling kickoff. It's audacious, it's fun, it's visually outstanding, and it's respectful to both properties. For fans of either, both, or maybe new fans that have never even discovered either one of these properties, it's definitely a really fun reading starting point. For anyone that loves big crossovers, it really lands very genuinely, with heart and claws and a shell and roars from all these kaiju. So if I were to be giving this a score, I would call it a Kawabunga, dude. No spoilers here. Extremely strong start. So there's a little bit more that I can tell you about this crossover. This is the first time that these two properties have crossed over. And then, of course, IDW has been doing a lot of these really cool crossovers. Godzilla is really at the forefront of what they're doing. So it's really cool. I think the artist also mentioned on social media that rendering Godzilla on these double spread pages, like, It's a lot. Like there's a lot of heft behind this property. So, and then of course Tim Seeley described this as just an utter joy, right? He loves writing stuff like this, and I think he's the perfect writer for something like this. So, if you want to ensure to get a copy of this Monster Mash on release day, you have to pre-order it at your local comic shop by the final order cutoff date of October 6th of 2025. This will ensure that your retailers will have enough copies before this book ships and it lands on your store on November 12th of 2025. So, if you're ready for this next big crossover from IDW, you make sure to go to your shop and order right now. And of course, if you're excited for this, let me know what you think. Let me know what you're excited about. Let me know what you want to see from a crossover like this. Now, before we get out of here, let's take a look at some of the variants that are already out there, because that way you can even include that part in your order. So let's check it out. All right, so first we have, this is just the main variant cover, or the main cover. We do have here a Riley Rossmo cover. We see Raphael, we see Godzilla, we see all the turtles, but Raphael's kind of up front. That does kind of tell me that maybe Raphael is Riley Rossmo's favorite. This is a 1 in 100 variant, so your shop's gonna have to order a lot of these, or this will probably be at a heftier price than most variant covers. We have this 1 in 25 ratio Dylan Burnett foil variant. So this will probably come in both regular and foil. We'll see as we kind of go through this, but it's very cool. I love to seeing the scale between the turtles and Godzilla. This is a 1 in 50 Sean Galloway cover, which of course has more of the animated stuff for both Godzilla, the turtles. We even see Gatsuki and Master Splinter, so that's very cool. Next, we have this cover by Juni Ba of this kind of like mashup between the turtles and Godzilla, right? You see the scales, you see the tail. That's really really cool. This appears to be just the cover B. So this, if you see this at your store, it should be at just a regular price. Then we have this cover C by Valdemar Rivas, which is a big Godzilla stump, the turtle van. Very cool as the turtles try to get away. This is the same cover we saw earlier with the traitress of Godzilla and TMNT, the logos, and of course a blank variant cover, so you can get an artist to do your own custom Godzilla Turtles crossover. So here you have it. I'm very excited for this, so make sure to go pre-order. And if you're excited for this, or if you're reading any of the Godzilla stuff, the Kaisei era is really kicking ass. The Turtles books are really kicking ass. We have a new team incoming, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So let me know, what are you excited for in the world of Godzilla? What are you excited for in the world of TMNT? And of course, stay tuned for more previews like this of upcoming comic books. Big shout out to our friends over at IDW, because without them, we couldn't do stuff like this. And without you, the viewers, we couldn't put out videos like this. Eric Larson is back writing at Marvel along with Spider-Man Noir. Let's talk about it in this video. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Spider-Man Noir #1. This is the new book from Marvel Comics. This is written by Eric Larson with art by Andrea Briccardo, Rachel Rosenberg on colors, letters by Joe Sabino, and we'll take a look at all the covers later on in this video. In this book, brush up on the coolest Spider-Man before he hits the small screen. Spidey legend Eric Larson puts on his writing hat to reinvent Spider-Man like he did with the original. Along with rising star Andrea Ricardo, it's the 1930s, and Peter Parker is a private detective by day, vigilante Spider-Man by night. Things were going well until a certain dame walked into his office and asked Peter to solve a case, the case of her father's murder. The dame's name, Gwen Stacy. This case may not only break Georgia Stacy's police department, but also Spider-Man himself. So going into this book, I was pretty excited because of a few reasons. First of all, I like Spider-Man Noir. I really like the character, especially not so much really like the reinvention that the movies did for him. I think they really revitalized that character. Earlier runs of Spider-Man Noir, they're a little bit more gritty, a little bit more edgy. Maybe not exactly what I want, but I think the movie did such a good job of kind of turning that noir trope on its head and making, like, being a little bit self-aware of it, making a little bit fun of it. Of course, having the voice of Nicolas Cage really helps. Now, I don't know exactly when the Spider-Man Noir TV show will be coming out, but either way, this is a great way to kind of catch up and refamiliarize myself with the character. The other thing, of course, Eric Larson, legendary comic creator. So why would I not want to pick up a comic? Andrea Bocardo's been working on a lot of really cool stuff, and I think, along with the art team, they deliver this really interesting mix. It's not truly a detective noir. Like, this isn't really all full of dark and shadows, but it's definitely a very cool. Feels like a pulp comic, especially because of Peter being a PI, taking on these gangs. The time frame of the 1930s, and then of course the true and tried trope of a damsel in distress walking into the office, and of course when you make that Gwen Stacy, that just really raises the stakes. So it's a very cool, interesting issue. Eric Larson does a little bit of world building here, introducing the gangs and how crime really works. A lot of this comes from Peter's own narration, which is definitely a very detective noir type of trope. But I really enjoyed it. But Andrea Ricardo's art is fantastic. Like, it just really works. The characters, they look very nice. There's not a lot of heavy lines. It's actually kind of playing against type, but it still definitely feels a little pulpy. It reminds me a little bit of a Rocketeer comic book. And I think that's the kind of mood and feeling that you want to go for in a book like this. At least from my opinion. It's full of action. It's full of twists and turns. And then, of course, when you get to the last page and you realize what you're really in for, I think it all really pays off very well, and it all really works out. So very, very excited to see where the story is going to go. I think they have a great team, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. So let's take a look at some of the covers for this book. So here we have the main cover. This is by Simone DeMeo. Next, we do have a few, because obviously this is a number one, so that's definitely going to raise the stakes. And of course, it's Spider-Man Noir, which is a Spider-Man character, so they'll get the full treatment here. This is the 1 in 100 David Mack Virgin variant, so this has no trade risk. Uh, Next, we have the Spider-Man Noir Andrea Sorrentino. This is a 1 in 25 ratio, which is still very cool. I think Andrea Sorrentino's art really works for the look and the feel of the noir. Next, we have a 1 in 50 Jerome Opena variant. So yeah, a lot of really cool. Like, they expected this book to really sell, so they have those high ratio covers. Um, Next, we have a second printing Eric Larson variant. So you can go back and see some of Eric Larson's art. Next, we have the Big Time Collectibles NYCC 2025 Miko Soyan. Of course, an homage to Todd. I might. So luckily, Miko Soyan is somebody that is very much. I don't know if he's local to the Dallas Fort Worth area, but he's always around in our local convention. So hopefully, I can pick one up from here. Big Time Collectibles also, they're always in our conventions locally. So yeah, they always deliver on some really cool stuff. So that might be fun. Here we have the Virgin variant of that same. And then here we have the David Mack, which is just a regular cover with the trade dress. So it's only the Virgin cover that is a ratio cover for him. And then of course, once again, the Eric Larson with the trade dress. And then we're back to our first cover. So yeah, really interesting stuff. A very cool, very pulpy story. Like, I love the mystery, I love the feel of it. So they really managed to capture that, and I think it really works for this, and I think it'll really work for the future of the series like this. So if you're, like I said, if you're a fan of things like The Rocketeer, I think this might be right up your alley, because this really is just like, what if the Rocketeer was Spider-Man, kind of. Not in so many words, but it's pretty much that same feel, because that's always been the concept of Spider Noir. Just like I said before, it was a little bit more violent, a little bit more in a little bit more of intrigue, a little bit more drama, and then of course the art was a lot darker and a lot more of that heavy, heavy ink feeling. So, as always, if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments, and of course, stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. The Department of Truth celebrates 5 years with an extra length number zero issue. Let's talk about it in this video. Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for the Department of Truth issue number zero. This is a oversized anniversary issue. Contains two stories, and I just can't believe that it's been 5 years of the Department of Truth. It's great. So let's talk about what's going on in this book. A new day has dawned at the Department of Truth. Lee Harvey Oswald and his ruthless new recruits are ready to do whatever it takes to make the agency great again. Do not miss this critical turning point in the Eisner nominated series. And for the first time ever, Department of Truth welcomes celebrated guest writer Scott Snyder and acclaimed artist Joshua Hickson to tell the secret history of Elvis in the first of a three-part backup story. So that kicks off right here. So as I mentioned, this is of course written by James Tynion IV, with art by Martin Simmons, letters by Aditya Bidikar. We also have the second story, Suspicious Minds, of course, named after the famous Elvis song. This is part one, written by Scott Snyder, with art by Joshua Hickson, colors by Jordi Belair, and letters by Aditya Bidikar. This is very, very exciting stuff. This book really works on multiple levels. First of all, if you haven't been keeping up with Department of Truth, issue zero is the perfect jumping on point. You get a lot of the world of what's going on. You get refreshed and kind of reminded of what the mission of the Department of Truth is. But then, of course, because it is a pivot, it is a thing that they're changing. I think that James Tynion really, really smartly brings in a way to get you a new entrance for the audience, right? After 5 years, sometimes books get a little stale, or maybe there's too much back matter that people won't be able to catch on. But both the stories of having a fresh story from Scott Snyder and Joshua Hickson, who are very prolific in their own right, that really helps. But also pivoting and changing the way that the book approaches the story. Of course, teaming up with Martin Simmons. And both Simmons and Hickson, they have such distinct styles, but they are so cool. Like Martin Simmons, with his painterly style, really brings this world into a very eerie feeling. And I think that's what always captures whenever I'm turning the pages of this book. There's always an unease that comes along with this. There's a lot of grayscale that is used for this. And then you know that when a page is full spread or full colors, it's for a very important reason. So that really allows you to figure out what's going on, pay attention to it. So this is just overall a fantastic way to celebrate 5 years. I really enjoyed the story, although I'm not even so because I'm not caught up with the series. I read this thinking that it would be maybe like some kind of backstory into the issue because usually when you do an issue number zero, it's kind of like a prequel thing. But in this case, it really just feels like a refresher, a reminder, and then a repointing and recontextualizing where we're going on this longer story. So definitely made me want to go back and catch up. This book it's got a lot of heavy themes, so it's not something that I normally just jump into. I usually catch up trade by trade, but I think I'm a couple behind, so this definitely works. I think the unique story and the unique approach of Scott Snyder delivering this three-part story is going to be really fun. Now, that one I have read it, but I will definitely be rereading it when all three parts are out. So I think that one's going to work a little bit better in that way, just because I'm reading so many things on a monthly basis that sometimes it's hard to keep up and keep, especially in a book like this where the themes are so dense and the ideas are pretty big. Like it's something that you kind of have to reckon with. I don't know that I would recommend this book for everyone, but I will say it's probably one of the best put together books over at Image Comics. They're doing really cool work, like bringing in different artists to tell different kinds of stories, but all of it still feels and holds true to that Department of Truth mission that was set out from the beginning. So highly recommend you check this out. Let's go take a look at some of the covers and we'll close out this video. All right, so here we have, of course, you already saw this. This is the cover that I picked up. Now I haven't gone to my second shop. Maybe I'll pick up some of the other covers as we go through them here. But this is Department of Truth issue zero, main cover by Martin Simmons. Next, we have this really, really cool uh, NYCC exclusive. I really like this. This is Javi Fernandez with the Akira homage, of course. You know, not just that, but also bringing this to Kennedy's assassination. The figure in red is always something that it's a very interesting use of the Akira type of pose. So next we have a captured collectibles variant. This is gonna be another NYCC exclusive. There's a lot of these that are going on right now, mainly because um, and New York City Comic Con is about to happen as we are recording this video. So this feels to me like an homage to the Carnage USA by Clayton Crane, almost with the US flag draped across, which that might be an homage to something else that I'm not really familiar with. So let me know in the comments. We have this another capture collectibles variant. This is going to be another New York City exclusive. So if you're at New York Comic Con, you're going to have your pick of like of any of these really cool covers. So make sure to go check those out. Next, we have the first ratio variant. This is by Josh Hickson with Elvis, of course. I really like this one. I like the idea of having a book with Elvis on the cover. I don't think that's something I've ever really kind of thought about. Next, we have the 1 in 25 ratio variant by Tom Mueller. Tom Mueller is a very prolific comic book designer. Um, Tom did a lot of the X-Men stuff during the Age of Krakoa, like the graphic design and put together a lot of those things on top of a lot of other books. Just the Krakoa stuff really jumps out at me. So this is really cool that he has his own specific cover. Next, we have this die cut variant by Tyler Boss, another really prolific. They went all out with all these creators that are doing these covers. We have this other 1 in 50 Martin Simmons cover, once again with Elvis. This is very similar to the original cover of the first issue of. So I guess he's kind of doing an homage to himself, maybe. I don't know. That seems. I like that it's a little bit self-referential. Of course, we have a blank variant, which I might be picking up since I'm going to a convention myself this weekend. Maybe get something really cool there. Maybe I'll get somebody to draw Elvis on there, or the figure in red. Andrew Robinson also has a really cool cover for Gotham City Limits. I really like this one as well. It's just such a weird composition, but man, oh man, it really works. You don't even see, obviously, with the toilet referencing, how Elvis passed away. You see the outline and the pills. It's it's pretty morbid, but it looks pretty cool. Then we have this other cover by Joseph Schmalk for Baltimore Comic Con. I'm not very familiar with this artist, but I also really like this. Once again, you see Elvis in the background, and then of course an homage to Marilyn Monroe with the subway grates, and then a local comic creator, David Sanchez. He's from the Dallas Fort Worth area, so really cool to see him do more. He's worked with Image and Tiny Onion in the past with the World Tree and stuff like that. So this is really cool to see him here once again. And then another another see, this is by Bistic Javier Flops, another homage to the Akira cover. So very, very cool. These are all just really cool. I don't know that I'll be able to get some of these because a lot of these are retail exclusives, but still really fun to look at. And then this is a Elvis as DMX, so an homage to the DMX cover for the Comic Corner. And here we have back to the main cover. So yeah, very, very cool stuff. So let me know, are you reading and are you caught up on Department of Truth? And of course, make sure to stay tuned because we have a lot more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. A villain returns and an untold origin story from the masters of the universe. Let's talk about it in this video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into Masters of the Universe Andra number 1. This is an oversized one shot from Dark Horse Comics, and what makes this book extra exciting is that it's written by Tiffany Smith. That's right, the same Tiffany Smith who voices Andra in the animated Masters of the Universe Revelation and Revolution series over at Netflix. There is something very special about a performance stepping into the writer's chair for a character that they've embodied, and this issue feels like it has her fingerprints all over it. The result, a really fun, dynamic story that expands the Masters of the universe in some great ways. So let's break it all down. All right. So as I mentioned, this is written by Tiffany Smith, who is an actress, host, and now comic book writer as well. Best known for being the voice of Andra in recent days. We also have artist Adriana Mello. We have colors by Giuliana Piratelli and letters by Ann Wool Design. Of course, this is published by Dark Horse in collaboration with Mattel. It's a 56-page one shot priced at $6.99, so it's definitely longer than your average comics, which gives it a lot more breathing room for story and spectacle and everything that you would want from Masters of the Universe. But what's going on here? This issue picks up with Andra stepping into her new role as Man at Arms. She is tasked with training cadets, but she's struggling with doubts about her ability to lead. When a distress call comes from Orcas Island, Andra is pulled into conflict with Count Marzo, a legacy villain from Masters of the Universe mythos, and the adventure forces her to confront her own past and prove that she's ready to take charge. All right, from here on, I'm gonna go a little bit into spoilers. So if you don't want to hear any of that, you can skip ahead. Check out the timestamps in the description of the video. So the issue opens up with Andrew just trying to really adjust to everything that's going on, right? Training fresh recruits out of the academy is not very easy. She's constantly questioning herself, and I think that Smith's exploration of this self doubt is something that's very interesting, especially as somebody that has portrayed the role and probably knows this character almost better than really anyone. Does she even deserve to be the man at arms? Now, when this call for help comes in, she responds and discovers that Count Marzo is at the center of this magical disturbance. Now, facing this kind of villain, it's not just a physical battle, right? It stirs up a lot of other issues, memories, regrets from her past. So it makes this fight both emotional and it's also very dangerous because it is a villain that is looking to really wreck some stuff. Now, throughout the issue, we see her lean on a lot of her technical skill and use her wits, which was one of the things that really were brought to life in the animated show, and gradually finally step to the role of the leader. So by the end of this and the climax, Andra finds that confidence and is able to defeat the scheme that was prepping, and really kind of earns the respect of the cadets that she had been working with. So it's really really fun, and it really shows you uh, kind of how. Well, I'll talk about how this fits into the Masters of the Universe world, but it really shows you how the character has had some growth. So let's talk about the art, because I think the artist would really brings all this to life. I really enjoy the work. It doesn't feel exactly like we're gonna take the art from the cartoon and make it fit into a comic book. This is a true adaptation. The creature designs are very cool, and the designs of all the other characters themselves, like they feel true to the world of Masters of the Universe without just being a copy of something that's been there. We get some really cool action sequences, a lot of magic, of course, because this world is full of that, so it really comes through. And then, of course, Tiffany Smith really knows Andra. She's lived the character, she's been in her head. So the authenticity of that also comes in through the writing. It's a great expansion into the Masters of the Universe lore. It gives a lot of depth to a supporting character that maybe could have had a little bit more screen time. And then, of course, tying everything to the larger Revelation and Revolution timeline. So um, I will say Count Marso is not somebody that I was very familiar with. Just not, I don't know a lot about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe other than the more recent stuff. So maybe giving that character a little bit more time would have been cool, especially being somebody that you wanted to feel like a classic big bad, right? So the story itself fits right between seasons 1 and 2 from the feel of it. which is very cool. So it works as a connective tissue. So if you were missing, or if you're in the middle of watching those, or even if you haven't seen those, maybe this is the push that you'll need to go and check out both of those works. So now, a little bit of things that I saw while trying to, working on this video. Tiffany Smith has said that she thinks of herself as Andra, or Andra as herself, but a little bit more amplified. So writing her own was a very personal thing. She grew up a fan of Shira and the Masters of the Universe, so that's kind of like a full circle moment. And then, of course, we have a lot of really cool covers, which we'll get into in a minute. And Count Marceau, while not always a top tier villain, it's a really fun callback to the Filmation cartoon all the way back there. So, all right, so let's take a look at the covers and go back to the main cover here. I think the reason that they have some of these covers is just to have a lot of fun with the character. So this is the main cover by Adriana Mello, which you can see, like I said, Andra's design is not fully pulled from the cartoon, but everything that you need is there, right? So that's really cool. We have this other cover by Scholar Patridge, which is also really cool. This is the cover B. And then we last have a cover by Nate Berst. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. If not, I apologize. So but yeah, really, really fun stuff. I'm very excited that I got to read this book, and hopefully, we'll get some more stuff from Masters of the Universe because I was a big fan of the cartoon. But in the end, Master of the Universe Android number one is fun, it's heartfelt, it's visually exciting, and it's a story that shines a well deserved spotlight on a character like Andra. So if you're a Master of the Universe fan, or someone who just enjoys a really cool character driven fantasy, I think this one's worth picking up. Now, I want to hear from you. What did you think of Andra number one? Do you want to see more Masters of the Universe one shots focusing on any specific side characters? Let me know which ones you would like to see below in the comments. And if you enjoyed this review, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more Masters of the Universe coverage, which we have some in the channel. We talked about pretty much everything from both seasons. And then until next time, by the power of Grayskull, we'll see you later. Bye bye.